Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Career Chat. I'm Krista Harmon, and I am one of the career readiness consultants here in the Kent Intermediate School District. And I am delighted to have Tamara Paylor. She is a graphic designer, a branding specialist, and an entrepreneur, a woman with many skills and talents, it appears. Welcome, Tamara.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as we go through this next 30 minutes, Tamara, I would love to focus it on your journey, and young people love to hear where adults kind of got started. So if you could take us back to high school, were you thinking you'd grow up to be an entrepreneur? Is that what you were thinking back then?
No, actually, I wasn't. That's the funny thing is that at the time, computers were really, that makes me feel dated, but computers were still the internet and everything, and websites were a big thing. So myself and a lot of other students were more so thinking of getting into the computer field. And actually, I actually, from high school, I got into an internship with NASA for electrical engineering. So I totally went in a different direction.
So you obviously liked science at some level back then, and so you applied for a scholarship. So tell us about that evolution and what you then graduated with when you headed off to school. I assume you took this internship, and was that a positive or negative experience actually for you?
It was a positive experience. So one of the things that I always encourage students is my mom told me, stay in the guidance counselor's office, and I did. And sure enough, an opportunity came where a technical school in Maryland was looking for interns for this NASA program, and that's how I got into that. So it was electrical engineering and chemical engineering, any kind of engineering, but it was mainly minorities. So we even had some Asian students, African American students. And after my year, you spend your entire summer there, and then following the fall, you actually go there. And so I liked it so much. I went for electrical engineering. Everything was going okay. But I'm more into math than science. And I always tell people, well, math is 1 + 1 = 2. Science is 1 + 1 could equal 2. Here's a theorem and prove it type of thing. So science started to get harder and harder for me. But for that internship, I actually went back and became a counselor. So that was cool. For 2 years, I was a counselor doing that. But the classes got harder and harder, and you're just thinking, well, everybody was thinking computer engineering, all that type of stuff, money is involved. Well, I'm here to tell you, don't do everything for the dollars. So I actually ended up failing engineering physics twice, part 2 twice. And it got to the point where I was just stressed. So I ended up dropping out from that. But eventually I moved to Florida. I had a friend in Florida. I moved to Florida. And it dawned on me that I had been doing graphic design since middle school, because I had done our programs, our flyers for the different schools. Even in high school, I did our tickets for our dances. I did all the things, but nobody had told me you could actually get a degree in that. So it was like, okay, let's try this. And I actually ended up going to school for graphic design, graduating with honors, and then I got an internship with it was VF Imagewear, Vanity Fair, and I ended up eventually becoming an actual supervisor, art supervisor for the NFL team. So the evolution was great. I don't regret it. I don't regret it because it all ended up to me now being an entrepreneur. So.
Well, I love so many parts of your story already that I want to dig into, because I think it's a beautiful example of a journey, how every skill that you've been doing along the way is coming together, like you said, for that entrepreneur, which we'll get to. But so help me. So you went to this internship with NASA. You started with the engineering major, and then did you say you graduated with something that you became like a school counselor or like a private counselor? Tell us about that.
No. So the internship with that school was for NASA. It was called NASA Prep. So I went back as a counselor the following 2 summers.
Oh, in that internship. Yes. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. So I did the silly thing. I didn't drop out of my 5-year engineering program until year 4. But so yeah, so within that time, I had been a counselor for that same program that I actually was in. Yep.
Thank you. I just had my mind in this school counselor mode. So I'm like, wait, you went from this science to this people-oriented career. So thank you. But you obviously loved that program and you probably really enjoyed working with the students as well, if you stuck with it for a couple of years.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. I'm still friends with several of them on Facebook. We had a lot of fun. We did career trips just like you guys. We did career trips every Friday to different offices and learning about being an engineer. So definitely it was a good experience for me. And then like you said, even now being able to meet other people and being able to work in different fields, that all added to this now.
I also loved how you mentioned that you were doing even graphic design as a teenager, 13 years old or 14 years old. I love that because I want young people to really look at themselves at this age. What do you enjoy, right? Tell us some of those things that you were already designing and doing back there in high school.
Yeah, like I said, I was doing tickets for our dances. Whenever we had a program in an auditorium, I did the programs for that. Um, um, I would even type papers for people. I did every facet of it and got paid for it. That's what I'm saying. The entrepreneurship was there. I got paid for writing papers. It wasn't plagiarism. It was their stuff, but they just needed somebody to type it up. So I did that. I even did some stuff for my church, just everybody. And like I said, but at the time, I didn't know that that was actually a career option. And now people have the option of doing a bachelor's degree in that if they want to. But yeah, I ended up doing and it came naturally. You know what I'm saying? I have a daughter and she already told me, she's 11, she's already told me she doesn't want to go to college. And I said, hey, as long as you do what you love to do, don't go for the money, don't, focus on what you love to do, and it comes with ease. And that's what happened with me.
I love it. And I love that you just were doing it and you try things. But again, that's why we do these because young people don't know what kind of jobs are out there, right? Students tell me, how am I supposed to know when I don't know what's out there? So thank you for, again, giving your time today. So you got this degree in graphic design and you started working with Vanity Fair and were an art supervisor with the NFL team. What was that work like? Just give us a little snippet. And then, of course, we'll move on to your more current stuff. But tell us about that because I don't think a lot of young people understand that those kind of jobs are in those kind of industries.
They are actually, when I graduated with my degree, once again, I stayed in a counselor's office, and the actual art department chair had came in and said he needed some people. And I was one of the people they passed along, and I met with him, and they brought me on as an intern. And as an intern, I was a production artist. So production art, you basically, someone's already created the original artwork and you're just modifying it. So for example, for the NCAA teams, you would just go in and change out Ohio from Michigan, change out those things or their logos. And then I got brought on full time and eventually became a creative artist as well. But that was actually short-lived because the whole time my direct manager was actually grooming me to become a floor supervisor. And I was one of the youngest ones there. And my team was the NFL team. And so what my position did was between the marketing team and branding, they would get they would go out and do their research as to what trends are hot. My manager would go to, there's a convention in Vegas and garments that are hot. And so there's a department that would come up with new garments for the next year. And then my team we would plaster all the different garments that they want to offer that following season on the wall. And then we would assign out graphics for the creative team to come up with that would fit on those garments. So, and then a lot of times our stuff would be sold in JC Penney's. A lot of stuff, some of the actual NFL teams would sell it. It was the red and black label at the time. So basically my job was to follow up with the artwork, make sure we got it out in a timely fashion, make sure it got licensed as well, and then help put the catalog together so that then the sales teams would go out to the different teams and to the different vendors and get the sales orders. But the most exciting part of my job was when it came to this time of the year, January, February, about to come a Super Bowl. So we actually did the Super Bowl art, and that was the most exciting part of the job because we would actually have to watch the playoffs. And as soon as the game finished, we would actually have someone on the print floor printing t-shirts, printing graphics. Now, of course, if you've seen the Super Bowl, they have graphics already there. Well, they actually have graphics for both teams. So one set is going to get burned and destroyed, but they already have some, but then we also have someone on site and I would oversee that. I love the job. The only thing that happened was at that time, the economy fell. So since I was one of the youngest and I made good money, I was one of the first to go. But I did love that job. And like you said, I did not know it existed. I didn't, and at one point in time, I didn't feel qualified because I didn't get much time being a a creative designer. But my boss actually saw all the other qualities that I had, and I did. Like I said, I was a production artist as well. So, but that's what I did.
Well, I think that's very exciting for young people who are choosing these career chats because they know that they have this creative ability and they just don't know where art fits into being able to support themselves. I love that you've been able to give us production art, a creative artist, a floor supervisor, dealing with the branding teams, so many different job titles you just gave to them to open their opportunities. So I love that. And that you loved it too. That's so important, right? To love our jobs. But life does take over sometimes, and sometimes we do get downsized or a company closes or moves. So when that happened to you, how did you handle that transition? What was your next way to find a job?
Well, my first day I cried because it was my dream job. But then eventually I had actually, after graduating with my degree, I actually started my design company as a what we call a side hustle, and I had some clients. So I was actually able to continue to work with some clients and do that portion. Now, I did eventually take some customer service jobs because I had management experience, but I was able to. So my design company is actually 16 years old because I've always had it since I graduated. And I've had longstanding clients as well from that.
I love that I have a side hustle too. I have my own career consulting business, and I just want to encourage young people that you can always be earning money on the side. They say to try to get 3 different streams of money or 5 streams of money. So you had this your own design company, which again kind of patched through income wise, that you had some clients, so you were able to do that. And what was your next step after that? Is that where you just like, I'm all in, I'm going to do my business, or did you end up working? You did some customer service stuff, but with your art and stuff, how did that transition?
Yeah, I actually I ended up doing customer service. I ended up moving from Florida to North Carolina because I had my daughter and I'm only child. So it's like I wanted to be around family. And after that, having to return to the work field, I found that a lot of jobs here in particular, they said they wanted graphic artists, but they more so wanted web design or network, and that wasn't really in my scope. So I didn't do those things. So I did customer service. But again, I'm always goal oriented. I always shot for management anyway. So I moved up through there. But then my last job was more salesy, and I was unfulfilled. I felt very unfulfilled, and it got harder and harder to get out the car. And my mom was like, you know what? I think you can make a go for it. And so that was my signal because she had never said that. My business was already 10 years old at the time, and she had never said that. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And so at the time, I had found myself a design mentor, and he helped me improve by using certain tools like mock-ups. I wasn't using mock-ups at the time, using mock-ups for my work, giving it more of a professional look and what have you. And I found resources that helped me make my side business a full-time business. I registered with the state and everything like that, got my bank account and everything. So And that's when it became a full-fledged business.
Was that, again, you mentioned that you were a entrepreneur as a teenager. What did that feel like when you started getting paid at that next level for your work in your own business?
It felt good. It was like, well, gee, I should have done this earlier. But it really did feel good because, like I said, it's doing something that I love. And my niche is helping startup businesses and small businesses get their brand identity. So I was still helping people, and seeing their faces, like when they would get their business cards or their logo, they felt legitimate as a business owner now, and seeing that and being able to help them in that process, being a full business. I absolutely loved it. And like you said, I always had the entrepreneurial gene. So it was like I was in heaven. I mean, of course, I had my ups and downs. One month you get tons of customers, another month you don't. But, I feel like I was made for this.
It's very exciting to hear people who are doing their passion and are able to support themselves. It's so exciting. So you mentioned kind of your specialty of your clientele. For young people who are thinking, man, it seems kind of scary to be a business owner. What kind of encouragement would you like to give them?
I would tell them to try it. It is, but the number one thing any of the 1% will tell you is that failure is a part of success. You have to try it because you'll never know, and you don't want to live a life of regret. And it's always about turnover. It's like, okay, so that business didn't work. Let's try this business. So try it. I would rather try it than not try it. And nowadays, I mean, my daughter, her business started when she was about 9. So it's a branch of what I do, t-shirt design and everything. But I mean, get started and try it. The world is your oyster, truly. And just it's a lot of Facebook groups out there that give good resources. That's my number one passion, is helping people find resources. And there are resources out there for you to legitimately do it. Don't just, even if it's a side business, treat it as a business. That's one of the biggest things. But definitely it's scary, but I mean, it's nothing like it. Use your job experience to build into that as well, to build you up as a business owner. So I even have struggles because I didn't go to school for business. So I'm learning things as I go along. So definitely don't let fear stop you. Do not let fear stop you.
And I love that you mentioned that you had a design mentor, and you probably have some, like you say, through Facebook groups or other people that are mentoring you through learning this business stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So give us a typical day. Everyone likes to know, what is a typical day for you? And what is the best part? And like you said, what is the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur, branding specialist, and graphic designer?
Well, my typical day is if it's during the week, get up, take my daughter to school, then I come back. And I've gotten into the habit now of making time for myself. My work day doesn't start right away. I used to be one of those type where I jump up, check my phone, check my messages. I don't do that anymore. I found that that puts pressure on you. You automatically have to be on. So now I take my time, I have some breakfast, drink my tea, just check in online to see what stuff is going on, not business wise, but just personally, see if my friends posted anything. And then around 10, that's when I really get into it. I get into my emails, I see what's going on, I look at my planner and see where I am. I make lists galore and just go from there. As far as like right now, I have a client where I'm helping her with her branding. She had a prior artist do the logo, but that's all the artist knew how to do because she was a brand new artist. So I'm actually taking that logo and making a logo guide for her, a style guide. And that basically tells you what colors to use, what fonts to use. It basically sets up the rules of how this brand is going to look. So that's what I'm working on now. So like I said, at 10 o'clock, that's when I start going in there. And then I also start looking at things for my business. I have a vendor event at the end of this month. So I take some time out to make sure I've ordered what I need to order as far as materials to get ready for that. But that's basically it. The biggest thing about entrepreneurship is you do have ease of like making your schedule be whatever you want your schedule to be. But don't let it fool you. There are days where I have done 24 hours straight, working on things. So sometimes you work 80 hours a week. Sometimes you can work, 10 hours a week. It really depends on what your goal is and what you're working on. But that is my typical day. And then get my daughter from school, and I try to limit once she's home. I try to limit how much I work and have a cutoff because I want to spend time with her.
And assuming that you're creative, it's probably like the billing and some of that secretarial administrative stuff is the challenge of the business, or not?
Yes, actually, it's not even just that, it's just being everything. I'm a solopreneur, so you wear every single hat: customer service, mailroom, tech support. You wear every single hat. And so you have to, without having these systems in place, I'm automated now. So without having those in place, I got really frustrated, really stressful. It brought down my joy of doing what I just do. But now that I have systems in place, I do less of those things than I did before. So that's one of the key things. I tell people all the time, find out what is taking the joy away, find a way to automate it or delegate it to someone else, and then get back into what you really love doing. And that's where I am now.
That's such gold advice. Seriously, Tamara, that's such great stuff. And with the way that the virtual world is, there are virtual assistants all over the world that you can hire. And I just love that whole facet for young small businesses, that they can hire someone and delegate, who doesn't have to be someone in your city. You can have someone else help you with all those tasks.
I'm a virtual artist. He is over in Pakistan, actually. But we work great. He really understands where I'm going and everything. And yes, that's my virtual assistant's not even here in the United States, but we work great together. So yeah, definitely. It's a lot of things out here that can be done. Just like I said, finding the resources or even making your own path.
Yeah, and as we have about 5 minutes left. If a high schooler is watching this and they're thinking, I'm a creative person, I like to do graphic design, I like this story, what would be some things you'd recommend that they do in high school? And even what type of degree should they get? Is there one that's maybe more marketable than other, like a straight out art degree, the graphic design, the website design? How do they navigate what kind of maybe training they should be doing?
Well, what I would suggest doing is start building your portfolio. So that is one of the key things that you'll need, regardless of which direction you go. You will need a portfolio, a live physical portfolio. So start pulling together things that you've worked on. Put yourself out there. Ask others around you, even family and friends, if anybody needs any type of work done, to get that under your belt. Because it's one thing to take art classes and do assignments there, but it's another thing to actually work on client-based things. Even if you do something for free for someone, that's still an outside client. So that's the first thing I would say. And then as far as the degree, if you're interested in graphic design, I would get graphic design. If you want animation, get animation. If you're unsure of which way, then just start with the generals till you get more information on that. Animation is really big. I did tell one of my friends, her daughter's in high school, and she was saying she was trying to get her daughter to do more commission work. And I told her, well, one thing is not just that, but this is really big right now. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, with the cryptocurrency, that's really big right now. And so if you're someone in high school, go ahead and learn that, because that is not going anywhere. That's big. So learn how to start selling your artwork through those channels, and things will open up for you. But definitely figure out which one you want to do. If you want to do graphic design, get graphic design. No, I don't recommend getting more than an associate, only because even still to this day, graphic design is more experience than anything. And so while you're getting the bachelor's, if you're not actually getting tangible experience that you can put in a portfolio, say I work for these companies, then it's not really going to do you much good. I'm actually working on going back for my bachelor's in business, obviously, with a minor in advertising. So just kind of find your way through, but definitely don't feel the pressure of leaving high school with a degree, with knowing exactly what program you're in. Because I tell you what, a lot of my high school friends, they decided they were going to do something, and none of them are working in that field. Rarely any of them are working in that field. So definitely start with the basics. If you just need to take gen ed courses for the first 2 years or so, do it until you figure it out.
Yeah, and we heard that from a mentor the other day too, that creating that content and doing that portfolio, that is the key. Like, you've got to show people that you know how to do it. Taking a class, getting a degree means nothing if you can't show the experiences, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how design and art really is. You need to show that you know how to do it besides what's being taught to you.
What are some of the natural skill sets that you think you've brought to the table as an entrepreneur?
That's a good question. Being determined, I'm an Aries, I believe in astrology, natural born leader. So having that leadership gene, being able to handle things without someone actually giving me directions. I'm a problem solver. You definitely need to know how to be a problem solver, because like I said, with entrepreneurship, you could have steady months income and then something dries up. So you got to learn how to pivot and find something else, especially with the multiple streams. That's why people have multiple streams, because if one thing dries up, you can go to another. And one of the things that I tell people too is, when they say multiple streams, I know some people where all 7 streams are totally different. I find it easier for myself that they all flow together. So I do consulting, but it's on graphic work. So I consult with people about their branding, their current branding. How can we change that? So that's a separate stream. I can do websites. That's a separate stream, because not all graphic designers know how to do websites, especially when it comes to coding. You know, we can do the pretty stuff, but the behind the scenes stuff. So those are my separate streams. And then my latest is my clothing line, Entrepreneur Life. And that stemmed from being a entrepreneur. My first t-shirt was "Entrepreneurship is sexy," because I think it is. And so that came from that, but that still ties into me doing graphic design.
That's so great. Our half hour went fast. It's already 4 o'clock. Can you believe it, Tamara? I'm going to give you a chance to give a final word of wisdom, and then I can let you go as I give some other concrete career research tools to those who came today. What would you like to end as far as talking to these high school students and their counselors that you'd like them to know?
Well, just first of all, good luck. You're headed in the right direction, and just stick by the counselors to find out what's out there. Do your research as well, but do not feel the pressure of having to know exactly what you're going to major in the day you walk across that stage, because the way life is, I mean, my mom, she's had 10 different careers over her lifetime, and she's 60. So definitely don't feel that pressure, and find something that you love, but you can monetize.
I think that's fantastic. Whoops, I meant to hit the button to close out and to monetize. I think that's the key, right? How do we earn that money to support ourselves with something that we love?
Right.
Great role model today, Tamara. Thank you so much.